So, welcome to Capsule Closet Stylist. I'm so pleased you can come. It's really exciting. I'm really pleased to have Heidi here, who is known as the Duchess of Thrift. That one here was a mouthful, wasn't it?
It is,
yeah. On Instagram. That's where I first started following her. And the reason why I wanted her to come on to talk to me today is because I love the message you give out about kind of just thinking twice. You know, we all buy stuff that we kind of don't need, and like buying secondhand, you know, and a big part of what I talk about is kind of being very intentional about what you buy. And, you know, this whole landfill thing, like often when I go into a normal shop now, it almost looks to me like landfill, like it becomes almost overwhelming. And a lot of clients come to me and they feel overwhelmed. So I love the fact that you are thrifting and you know, buying secondhand and pre-loved. So how did you start this? Have you always been like that, or how did it all get started?
I think I bought my first, well, I know I bought my first secondhand item of clothing. So I grew up in the Midlands, and there was a little vintage shop called Second to None in the next town along called Warsaw. It was named Warsaw, and I brought, and it back then. So bear in mind, this was the 80s.
Yeah,
it would be a treasure now, and it was a 1950s ball gown, and I lopped it off. So this is the time when I think sort of Madonna was starting, you know, Madonna was starting out. So it was a lovely red chiffon ball gown, and it had sort of diamante trims on it. And I remember lopping the bottom off and wearing it with a pair of Dr. Martens.
That's the sort of thing I would have done. Yeah,
it was so cute. It was a very Who's That Girl Madonna at the time. And it was around the same sort of time where, you know, you got Bros and all of those bands, and they were wearing 501s. And I think every man and his dog had a pair of 501s, and like a vintage suede jacket. And living close to Birmingham, we used to go to Birmingham Rag Market, and there would be loads and loads of stores just full of like vintage clothes. And I don't think I appreciated at the time how wonderful some of the vintage was then. I just sort of bought it and lopped it up. But I've always bought secondhand, and it's always been, I think, because there's choice in shops, I think it's quite limited. Now you've probably got a lot more choice, but going back then, you'd probably got Miss Selfridge, and it was Chelsea Girl back then. There wasn't an awful lot of choice.
Yeah, I think it's always been limited in terms of what the fashion is. Like the issue that I've got a lot coming up at the moment from clients is they're saying they're going out to the shops and everything is oversized. You know, and if you're like me, 5'3", or you're shorter, it just looks ridiculous. It just looks like you're wearing your dad's clothes. So
I'm the same height as you, so yeah, I suffer with the trailing trouser syndrome as well.
So I mean, you talking about the Levi's, I remember that really well. And actually, you used to go to those vintage places, and there would be loads of Levi's, wasn't there? There were sometimes stalls that just like, and Levi's are great because the other thing that's ironic as well is all these different shapes of jeans and all this that you can get. And actually, a standard pair of 501 straight leg jeans work more for most body shapes than anything else.
And that soft, warm denim. So the more it just, you know, like a pair of stiff, stretchy denim jeans is not comfortable. It digs in your midriff. They're not comfortable. But a pair of worn, soft denim jeans is as comfortable as chucking a pair of joggers on. And you can make them look really stylish if you roll them. You can change the shape by rolling them up, tucking them in.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I've got a pair. I've got some, and they are old, and they actually started to wear that thin on the bum. And because I turned 50 last year, I was a bit like, I probably shouldn't have a hole in my bum anymore. So I put a patch on the inside and stitched them up, so they're still going.
But it's amazing.
See, that's actually something that's just reminded me. I like to know what your oldest item is. So I bought a pair of shorts. I bought them new. Denim shorts when I was 18, and I've still got them. And they're still going, and they went on the bum as well, and I kind of patched them up. But it really made me think about how long clothes last. I mean, if you think of all the clothes that you might have bought and you might have got rid of in that time, it's shocking, really. So, you know, so what's the oldest thing you've got that you've bought?
See, I tend to, once I've stopped wearing something, I will sell it on, or I will move it on, or donate it to charity. But I found them the other day, actually. And there's a couple of things that I always hung on to. And I remember I bought them around 1999. And at the time, Warehouse did it was fast fashion, but they did a very boho look. And there was sort of silk chiffon, floaty tops with sequins on. They're just much nicer than what you could get now, but I didn't buy them new. I brought them from a charity shop called New Life, which was open it's been open forever, and I brought them way back then, these sort of Y2K shops, and they're store returns. So even when I brought them, they were pre-loved, but they were the damaged stock that people buy in the, the people buy something, it's damaged, and then they return it to the store. So that even they were and I found those in a box of bikinis and things the other day. But I tend to I will move things on, and I don't hoard, because if I hoard, I'd have so much, but I've got terrible seller's regret. So early 90s, I had some really lovely Helmut Lang. I had Vivienne Westwood. This is all pre-kids, when I had lovely stuff from Dries Van Noten, and I sold it on eBay for pennies. So I think it's about thinking really carefully about what you're getting rid of as well, because when I look at the Y2K stuff, I've got the most amazing Dries Van Noten cargo skirt that I got rid of, Vivienne Westwood corsets that I got rid of, and I could kick myself now, Michelle.
Wow, they were amazing. Do you mean the ones with the cherubs on, the ones with the square neck, the Vivienne Westwood ones?
I had a satin I had a cherub one and a boned bubblegum pink satin one. It was just gorgeous, and I could just kick myself. Absolutely kick myself, and a pair of little shorts with a bunny tail on them as well. Not that I would wear that. Like, can you imagine me walking around Sainsbury's in that now? That would be it'd be those pieces with second hand as well. So I would buy I didn't used to buy fast fashion, and I often think about this. If I go back to my early 20s, in what would be considered a typical season now, I'd buy one or two really good high quality things, and then I would top the rest up with either making stuff or chopping t-shirts up from charity shops and mixing it in with lots of vintage. So I've always done that and combined things.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because that's kind of how I do it. This is what I try and encourage people to do, is think more intentionally about it. And actually, you're absolutely right. If you've got a couple of really good quality bits, then you can kind of add the cheaper bits and pieces to it as well. So I totally agree. So how did you start off then with the Duchess of Thrift? How did that all start?
It was a New Year's resolution, really. So I'd always bought secondhand, and I would say 80% of my wardrobe was secondhand. But in lockdown, so I'd started, everybody was bored in lockdown, and I'd started online shopping a bit, and I'd never really watched any of the Trini videos, and I started watching her videos and Zara hauls, and I got sucked in. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm going to get that, and I'm going to get that. And I forgot I wasn't a millionaire like she is. And I spent an absolute bloody fortune on things. And I don't think they were really my style. They were more, I would say, ladylike, because I don't think I'm particularly dressed my age. I don't dress too young for my age, I don't think, but I'm not very suited.
You've got a little bit, you've got a personal quirkiness around you. So I know what you mean. It's not like formal office wear, is it?
No. And suits and blazers and things. And although I've got those things in my wardrobe, they're not really my go-tos. So I was influenced, I guess. And I brought all this stuff, and then a lot of it I didn't really wear. And it was lockdown. There was no place to wear it. So I ended up selling that. And then I thought, right, what you're going to do is just buy secondhand from here in. And then I said to my daughter, I'm going to start an Instagram. Can you help me? Can you show me how to use it? Because I hadn't got a clue. And then I just started sharing the pictures and stories, and it's been really, really good fun. And there's a really nice, it's a small account, but it's a really nice community of really supportive people with that shared common interest in not only secondhand, but styling things and trying new stuff.
Yes. Yeah, it's really interesting. See, I've only just started. I didn't concentrate on Instagram for a long time. I've been a personal stylist for 20 odd years, but I've only really started this online thing relatively recently. And I know what you mean, because I'm starting to see it now. There's the same faces you see over and over again.
And they're check in. I mean, if something's happened and you haven't posted for a couple of days, you'll find that people reach out and check in and say, oh, I've missed you, how are you, is everything okay? And it's, I think people tend to sort of dismiss social media and sort of virtual communities, but actually if you're having that regular sort of contact on there and you've got those shared, it's a community of interest, people really, really are caring and supportive. And if I've noticed somebody hasn't been around, I'll check in on those similarly, because
Yeah.
it's just a nice community. So it was a New Year's resolution, and I said I wouldn't buy anything new in 2022. And then this year, just through circumstance, cost of living, a relationship breakup, I'm buying a lot less pre-love, because the charity shops, obviously they've been impacted by the cost of living. So it's no shade on the charity shops, but when you walk in and a blouse is now £12 in the charity shop when it used to be £3, that's a massive jump. So I don't post hauls anymore. So I used to go and I'd spend like 20 quid and come out with like 10 things. Now I don't post hauls, and I sort of, even if I do sort of a car boot shop and I find a few goodies, I don't post the hauls, because I just think that, I don't know, it's a bit tone deaf where we are now in overconsumption.
Yes. Yeah.
And also in terms of where people are economically, so people watching that, you know, just because you can afford to go in there and buy 10 things, other people might not be in the same situation. So I've stopped posting hauls so much. I do still shop occasionally at charity shops, mostly at car boot sales, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on the whole haul thing. I think it's kind of, it's had its time, I think it's almost now, it almost looks, well, it's like that fast fashion excessive thing now. It almost looks excessive, and it's like, it's not something you want to encourage other people to do necessarily either. So I agree with you. I kind of feel like that's changed quite a lot, only in the last kind of 10 years probably.
Yeah, and I mean, they were really, really popular, but it's more the mindset of going in and buying stuff that you don't need. Because if every 2 days you're posting that I've been out and I bought 10 things for this much money in a charity shop, well, actually you've bought 30 things this week. Did you need those 30 items? Are you going to wear them? Are they going to really genuinely, you're saving them from being in the charity shop, but are they going to all get used and worn? So it's about, like you said, it's about that more considered shopping, and about a more mindful shopping. Because I think as women, we fix our feelings with shopping, whether it be new or second hand. So there's a lot of that goes on where people, it just sort of plugs a little gap, doesn't it? The mindless shopping plugs the gap, and that's when you make mistakes with what you buy and you have all the regrets. And
also it's temporary. It doesn't last. You know, in 5 minutes you get it back and then you still feel the same. It doesn't fix it. So yeah, no, I totally agree. So you don't just talk about clothes, do you, as well? You just talk about general kind of, kind of money saving ideas, is that correct?
Yeah, so they're all sort of like hacks for living. And I think growing up very, very working class up in the Midlands, both my parents were from large families, and lived, you know, their parents were really thrifty, and being brought up thrifty, you don't ever lose that sensibility to sort of watch the pennies and hustle your way through life, if you like. So there's sort of cost of living hacks and hustles I blog about. But even with the clothes, as I say, I'm doing more re-wearing and looking at ways of styling the same things, but doing it in a slightly different way, using other items that you've picked up for pennies to breathe new life into stuff as well. So I feel more this year is more about avoiding overconsumption. It's interesting you should say that, because I've literally just been recording some videos for YouTube, and I've just done one on 16 ways of wearing a shirt dress. Right, it's just a simple shirt dress. And it's one of those things that's quite versatile. If you've got those odd bits of items in your wardrobe, you know, you can wear it so many different ways that it makes it more than just becoming just a shirt dress, if that makes sense. And I think everybody stands in front of their wardrobe at times. It might be absolutely cram-packed full, and you look and you think, I've got nothing to wear, and it's because you're used to seeing it and you see it one way, and then your view gets quite blinkered. So I always say, like, play big girl dress up and just put some stuff together. And even if your outfit looks a bit crap one day, who cares? It's just an outfit.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so true. It's like that's one of my biggest kind of quotes is, have you got a wardrobe full of clothes but nothing to wear? And sometimes what you were talking about earlier is really interesting about how, you know, as women, you go out and you shop to fix something. And I think that's what part of the problem is, and probably you're helping by doing what you do, is these women who kind of feel like they've got a wardrobe full of clothes but nothing to wear, feel really down about it, so they go and buy something else to try and fix that. And the more they buy, the more they add, the worse it gets, and then the harder it gets.
Yeah, it's just more overwhelming, isn't it? There's just more stuff to look at. And so, I mean, if you've got quite a creative way of thinking or a creative eye, it might be easier to put outfits together. When you walk into a shop, everything is laid out for you and it's hung a certain way, but the way that it's merchandised is to be worn in one way, the way that it's on the dummy. So if you can't see beyond that and think of other things, it's really difficult, because that has only got one identity in your wardrobe, hasn't it?
And also, most of those dummies and those models don't look like us. That's the other thing. So it's like working your own way through it. So what are your top tips then for saving money with clothes and thrifting and looking for clothes and how to put them together? How would you advise somebody who, let's say, they've always bought new, they've always bought from the high street, but they want to be a little bit more sustainable and a little bit more intentional? What do you do that works really well?
I mean, with charity shops, it's if somebody is dead set against charity shops or doesn't have an eye, that what lots of people say to me, I'll never find anything good in the charity shop. And it's the way that you look for things. So there's particular things to always pick out. And you can tell by thumbing through the rails. So when I thumb through the rails, and it might sound like I'm a bit snobby, but I will look for good labels first. So if I'm going to spend £5 on a jumper because all the jumpers are a £5, I'm going to try and get the cashmere one. So I'll thumb through the labels first and look for really good quality ones. If you see a label that's stitched rather than, you know, the generic ones that they're just sewn in the back, but a stitch label and a large satin label, even if you don't recognize the brand, I'll just shamelessly Google it in the store and see what it is, because I want to get nice quality things for them there. So I always thumb through the rack very quickly. I don't even stick to my size. So when I go in there, because if you stick to your size in particular, you might only have like a portion of a rail compared to the whole rail. Because personally, I mean, I am a size 10. I will wear a blouse at size 16 because it's floaty and it's light and it gives you that nice, but you get all the folds in the fabric and that lovely boho sort of feel. So some people can be a bit funny and say, oh, but you're stopping somebody that has got a fuller figure, you're stopping them from getting access to that. But for me, it's whoever gets there first in the charity shop. Now, people might think I'm a bit horrible for saying that, but I wouldn't.
It's true, because you would be stopping somebody who's a size 10 otherwise if you were buying a size 10. So it kind of makes no difference. It's all the same. Do you think about color or anything before you go? So do you have certain colors that you tend to go for, or is it more style or patterns or anything like that?
I'll look for gaps in color. So if I've got other items in my wardrobe and I've worn them a few times and paired them up with sort of contrasting colors or sort of like colors in the same sort of family group, I'll think, oh, what else could I put with that? And I'll try and sort of extend the life of stuff that I've already got in my wardrobe by looking for things in similar colors. So there's colors that I really love that are really rare. They're like rocking horse poo. I love that real goldy, dirty olive green, you know, that sort of like really lovely olive green. So I'm always on the lookout for things in that lovely olive green. So I will go with sort of a bit of a shopping list in mind, but you're never going to find that.
No, I know exactly what you mean. No, I know exactly what you mean.
On the flip side of that, once you've set your intention to look for a particular thing, because you've trained your mind to look for it, a bit like when you're going to buy a red car, all you see is red cars going past. So once you train your mind to think, actually, my intention is to go out because I need, I don't know, a new pair of jeans, and I could do with a maxi dress in black, you'll tend to see them because you've put it into your sort of mind, and you've set that intention, and you'll find them. I get into charity shops because they are big, and they can be overwhelming with the amount of stuff. I prefer a longer dress to a shorter dress, so I'll always just stand back from the rail and just look at the length. So it saves me thumbing through a million dresses. I'll just look at the ones that are longer, just to save me time, because your arms ache rifling through them.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting again what you said, because what you're doing is, and this is what I try and help clients with as well, is what you're saying you do is you're looking at what you've got and working out what might go with that. So that is being intentional straight away. Rather, what a lot of people do is they will go out and see something when they're feeling a bit low, like we were saying, love it, bring it back, and then spend the rest of their time working out where they're going to wear it and what they're going to wear it with.
Yeah, it doesn't match with anything that I've got.
No,
I mean, I'll look for inspiration as well. So if you went onto the Zara website today and flicked through all of the new drops for this week, I guarantee you there's only so many things you can do with a skirt, a shirt, and a dress. There's only so many configurations. And if you look through that, you can think, oh, actually, I love the way they've put that together on the model. I guarantee you'll find something similar. It won't be the same, of course, it won't be the same, but something very similar in a charity shop. And I also use the Vogue Runway app. I love using Vogue Runway for inspiration. So, I mean, now I've started to look at the Vogue Runway app, at the shows and what they were showing sort of for autumn this year, to sort of get a theme. So I'll keep my eye out for those colours, and also the Pantone colours of the year. So whatever the Pantone colours of the year are, you know that they're going to be big, so you can keep an eye out for those in the charity shops as well. That's because really that they're going to be the next big things, and you'll probably be ahead of the game if you're buying them now before they filter down to the high street and every man and his dog's wearing lavender.
Lavender's been big, hasn't it, recently, actually? That's so. The other thing is as well, what I wanted to talk to you about finally was your book. You've got a book. How did you go from lockdown and I think I'll just buy all secondhand clothes to actually writing a book?
I'm going to sound really now, but I think I manifested it. I sound really, really woo-woo when I say that. But
no, don't be silly.
An agent found me, so a literary agent found me on TikTok. So when I started sort of sharing TikToks, the press kept picking up on stories, so I kept sort of appearing with these cheeky hacks in the press quite a lot. And this lovely lady named Ruth found me, and she said, would you be interested in writing a book? And I said, I don't know. I've written business cases for work, and that's about the most I've ever written. I'll have a go. So I wrote 5 chapters, and I didn't realise I could write, and I can churn out 5,000 words a day. I had no idea I could write.
Wow.
And I really enjoyed it, and it flows and it just comes out of me. So I had no idea that I could do it. So I wrote the book. She sent it off to publishers, and it's now Hachette, who I believe are the largest publishing company in the world, have picked it up. So it's out for pre-release on Amazon, and already it's #1 in the hot new release budgeting. I know, and it's not even released yet. So it feels like, because I am just a 52-year-old mum, now a recently single mum, who's had a bit of a colourful life, who's a bit of a dweeb. I'm just a mom like everyone else who's obsessed with cleaning and smelling the laundry softener in the supermarket, and nothing different or special about me. So it feels like something happening in a parallel universe to somebody else. It's all a bit insane.
That's amazing. So basically they'd found you, so the press had found you on TikTok, and then you got some press, and then they picked you up from that. So it's just one of those sort of I don't know, I guess it's timely. I guess what you're talking about is very timely, isn't it? It's very on the money right now, excuse the pun, but it is.
It is, and that was never it was never intentional to think, oh, I'm going to write a book, and that this is what I'm going to do. That wasn't intentional. It was like sort of when I started sharing sort of money saving tips, it's because I've always been good at pulling my belt in. There was a period of time when I was with my partner, when he was made redundant, and we were living just on my salary. I'm like, right, these are the changes we can make. We can manage this. We can afford everything. And I've always been really, really good at finding ways. I'm good. I think I always see the glass half full, and I always see opportunity. In every cloud, I see the opportunity and a way to turn it into something good. I think it's more mindset than anything else.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, I've been a single parent since my daughter was a baby. So I've had those moments, besides doing costume and styling, which is well paid, but then I've never been able to go off and do that back to back, because otherwise I'd never see my daughter. It's really, really long hours. So I've had times where it's been lean and I've pulled the hatches down, and other times where I'm like, right, okay, we can go on holiday, or yes, we can buy this, or, you know, whatever. And then I kind of pull the hatches back down again. So I can kind of understand that and relate to it. So what is the book about? Is it just about, but is it about thrifting? Is it about saving money? What's the general, you know, what are all the different chapters, or is it different areas? You know, what is it about?
Thrift your life, and there's a bit about sort of energy saving around the home. There's a bit about keeping warm. There's a bit about buying secondhand fashion, or, you know, swapping clothes. There's you visiting what to do when you go to a car boot sale, because they're overwhelming for people, and they're little gold mines. There's a section about interiors and doing your house up for less money. There's one about Christmas and celebrations, get-togethers, entertaining. So there's a bit of everything in there. I'm forgetting all the chapters now, but there's a bit of everything in there. So it's sort of getting the family on board. There's a bit about mindset. There's hacks as well. If you do sort of find yourself in that payday millionaire cycle, or the emotional shopping cycle. So there's hacks and hints, and there's strategies that I've employed to break that, because so many people, when they get paid, they spend all of them. They think, I can't wait till I get paid because I'm going to treat myself. They spend all of their money really, really quickly, and then spend 3 weeks thinking, I can't wait till I get paid again. And there's hacks and hints and tips and things around sort of combating that as well. So there's a bit of something for everybody. And what I'd say, it's for if you've got a kid going off to uni for the first time, if you find yourself, oh, you've got one going off.
Yeah, it's literally, we're looking at universities next month. She's doing the first year of her A-levels, and then she'll be doing she did her mocks literally last week, and she's doing her A-levels next year. So yeah, we're literally, so that's, well, a year in September, that will be me. So yeah.
Oh my God, that's such a big step as well, isn't it, when they go out into the world on their own? And it's the book is something you could give to them, because there's loads of stuff, and it's not, I wouldn't say it could be, you know, if you've both been employed and one person gets made redundant in the home, if you both get made redundant, if you find yourself newly divorced and having to pull your belts, it's for absolutely everybody. Whatever budget you want, there's something in there. And I think, see, I write business cases for a living, and usually they're invest to save business cases. And because that's the way I sort of think about it, it's more of an investment, because I guarantee that you would save money if you followed the stuff in there.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I think I'm just going to go and buy it now. So what's it called again?
Thrift Your Life.
Thrift Your Life. Right. Okay. What I'm going to do is, when I put this out, I'll put it out on the podcast, and I'll put it out on YouTube. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to it as well in the thing, so that people can kind of go and get it. I've actually feel quite proud of myself today. It's something completely relevant to kind of clothes and all that, but I've actually this morning made my own kombucha and my own hummus.
Oh wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that is really good, because the hummus costs next to nothing. You know, if you've got tahini in the fridge, it costs next to nothing. I've always got lemons, and I've always got garlic, and dried chickpeas, which I leave overnight in water, and then just kind of, but yeah, the kombucha, so you buy the Scooby first, which costs a bit of money. That's that £6 or £7 initially, but then every sort of 10 days you've got like a litre of kombucha.
Oh wow. So it's just ongoing then once you've got the Scooby.
Yeah, so once you've got the Scooby, and all you need is I've got like a, you know, like a masonry jar. So it's like a litre masonry jar, and I have to put 4 tea bags in water and then some sugar in there. And then I wait till the tea bags have kind of blended in the water, and then it cools down, and then you put the scoop, and it feeds off that. So it feeds off the sugar and the tea bags, and then you leave it for about 10 days, and then you tip the water out again, and that's the kombucha.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? So that will keep, it's like having a little pet that you can nurture with tea.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the
Brilliant.
thing. So it costs me, you know how much kombucha is, so it's quite
No.
expensive. So it costs me, once you bought that initial Scooby, and actually there's another Scooby growing on it as well now, so I could
Oh,
sell that
wow.
and give that to someone else. But once you've got it going, that's it. It's just you've got a litre like once every 10 days, and I just put a bit of ginger in it and a bit of lemon in it as well.
Oh, lovely. I love little things like that. And it's, do you know what? They're personal achievements, aren't they, as well?
Yeah.
You think, I haven't done that. How have I got to this age and not tried that? And it's just
Yeah.
nice to try new things, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's because I really quite like kombucha, and of course it's good for your gut and all that, and health and all that, but it costs a lot of money. So I was like, right, I'm going to try and do it myself. But yeah, and you leave it in the fridge. If you leave, the longer you leave it in the fridge, the more fizzy it gets as well.
Oh, I'm going to have to try that, I think. Sounds
Yeah,
very good.
you can get the Scoobies from like Amazon or wherever, and usually they'll come with instructions. So yeah, if you do it, let me know, and let me know how you get on with it.
How I get on with it. The kids will be like, what is that there?
They will be, because it does look like an alien in a jar. It does. Or it looks like some body part or something like
Oh
that in
my
a jar
goodness.
on the side. So yeah, they will say that. Okay, it's been so nice to talk to you.
Thank you for talking to me. It's nice to meet you. It's
Uh,
nice to see people that
yeah,
sort of comment and follow, and it's actually really lovely to like connect with somebody and have a proper chat, isn't it?
yeah. It's interesting actually, because you were talking about the clothes swapping. I went to Lewin Luland's clothes swap in Brighton actually, and I've kind of connected with her. She's another one that's amazing as well.
Oh.
But bless her. But yeah, no, it's really nice to talk to you. So one more thing, what would be your top tip in saving money with clothes?
Well, it's got to be to buy less of them and
Yeah,
rewear what you've got. But to be honest, if you've got stuff in your wardrobe that's just sitting there and cluttering your view of what you've got to
yeah,
wear, sell
yeah.
it on, stick it
Yes,
on Vinted, get rid of it, because all
yes.
it's doing is obscuring your view. Don't hang on to but that cost me £70. You're not going to get £70 for
No,
it. Let's have it right. Get rid of it. You're
yeah,
hanging on to it. It might even be the wrong size. Just get rid. Don't,
yeah.
they're just clothes, and don't have that emotional connection where you think I've got to keep it. Do you know what I mean? Just
No,
get rid of it,
yeah.
unless it's a Vivienne Westwood corset, and then you're going to have major regrets.
Yeah, but that's it. I always say to people, like with the sentimental stuff, like I've got some of my nan's berets, like from the 50s,
Oh,
and I
that's
absolutely love
different,
them.
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like something like that. I know some people get really minimalist about things. They'll say, "Oh, just photograph it and keep it like that." And I'm like, no, I could never do that. A photograph is not the same of having actually that. So things like that I get, but I don't get it when people keep their wedding dress when they're then divorced and things. I don't understand that.
I don't get the whole wedding dress thing, because I mean you're never going to need it again, even if you remarry, are you? I'll tell
No.
you what I've got, and it's one of my most treasured things, and it's a crochet blanket that my nan crocheted. And it's the most hideous array of colours, but she crocheted it from jumpers. So when the kids had grown out of their jumpers, she unraveled them and reused the yarn. So it's a right hodgepodge, this big granny square blanket. And I've
Oh,
got that still. I've got that downstairs, and that's my most treasured thing. So
yeah.
yeah, it's
I get that.
something that's too
It's funny.
special.
It's funny you should say it, because my nan she always used to wear these beautiful like coats, like wool coats, and she had this beautiful
Oh,
kind of burgundy one. And during lockdown, when my mum didn't know what to do with herself, she made these teddies out of one of her coats, and we've all got one.
oh, see, that's lovely, and there is like there's some sentimental value in heirloom or heritage pieces,
Yeah,
isn't there? But if it's just some fast fashion that was
yeah,
overpriced and you bought it and it's in your wardrobe, get rid of it. I would say get some really good core basics, which is probably the same message that you share as a
yes,
stylist.
it is.
But in the
Yeah,
charity shop, the one thing that doesn't stand out is the rows of stuff that's black and fawn and white and
yeah,
grey. Those
yeah,
things don't stand out in the charity shop, because there's a cacophony of colour and
yeah,
pattern, and all of those get drowned out. But actually, if you can pick up some good quality basics, like I said, look for silk and cashmere and wool and the good qualities, check them for moth holes and what have you.
Yes.
But get the good basics, because then you can add the colour in. Then you can buy the shirt that's ridiculously patterned and team it with a good basic.
That's exactly it. Yeah, exactly it. Like you said, the 501 jeans, plain white shirt, maybe a black blazer, all those kind of things are all like real basics. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, buy jewelry in the charity shop. Like you just mentioned, berets, jewelry, hats, belts, all of the accessories. I love corsages, and so many corsages in the charity shop. So even if I'm wearing something really plain, or my accessories are not quite right and I need to balance out where I've got the colour, I'll just stick a corsage on it.
Yeah, no, it's a really nice way of doing it. It just links it together then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes it coherent. And I'm a bit OCD, so if there's like colour in one area and a trim on a dress, it's got to kind of balance it. It's got to have some symmetry, otherwise I can't cope with it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That's what I kind of talk to people about anyway. So I totally agree with you. I totally and utterly agree with you. Well, it's been so nice to talk to you. I am gonna, what's the name of your book again? Remind me.
Thrift Your Life.
Thrift Your Life. I'm going to go and thrift my life now. I'm going to get it on Amazon. And
Thank you.
That's all right. You're very welcome. So yeah, so thank you so much.
Now, thank you. Lovely to meet you, Michelle.
And you. All right. See you later.